President Biden traveled to Michigan today to meet with members of the United Auto Workers Union. This trip comes just days after he received the union's high-profile endorsement. Biden narrowly flipped Michigan in 2020 after Trump carried the state back in 2016. The former president is also vying for union support. Yesterday, Trump met with the Teamsters president to discuss immigration. The union backed both President Biden and Hillary Clinton instead of Trump the two previous times he ran for office. Kevin Munoz joins us now. He is a senior spokesperson for President Biden's reelection campaign. Kevin, it's always great to see you. I'm looking at an email where you blasted the former president's, quote, bad attempt at salvaging union support after that meeting yesterday. Why are you so confident that President Biden is going to continue to win union endorsements?
Well, thank you so much for having me, Weija. Hello from Wilmington. We're really excited that the president was able to come to Michigan today to talk to some of the 130,000 UAW Michiganders in the state about the stakes of this election when it comes to working people. When you look at Donald Trump's record, it is one of selling out the working class on behalf of Wall Street. And Joe Biden is proud to be the most pro-labor president. And this was a great trip following his historic visit to a picket line, the first time the sitting president has ever done that. And we're going to continue to talk about how this agenda is delivering for union members, including creating jobs here at home instead of shipping them over to China.
And Kevin, I want to point to a photo of a truck that was parked near today's UAW event because Michigan, as you mentioned, is home to many members of that particular union, but it's also home to the largest Arab American, Muslim American population in the country. And this sign reads Genocide Joe. It references the death toll in Gaza. And I wonder what the campaign is doing to try to reach that community and try to navigate the passion and the anger that we are seeing boiling over.
Well, look, the president first and foremost treats this issue as a commander-in-chief, and he absolutely recognizes the challenge, the difficulty, and the pain that so many abroad and so many here at home feel when it comes to this issue. We know that the White House has already announced some steps building on the work they've been doing to engage with Arab elected officials and other leaders in their communities to travel to Michigan, to talk to them about the issues that will define this election. Ultimately, this election is going to be won by earning the support of the coalition that sent Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to the White House in the first place. And we're going to be doing that work and talking to every constituency throughout this cycle.
Did the president sit down with any Arab American leaders today while he was in Michigan?
It was really important for the president to come after that endorsement, after him joining the picket line to visit with UAW workers and talk about the stakes of this election. He was also able to visit a Black-owned business, talk to some Michiganders about that. This is the first of many trips. I think we're really encouraged by the fact that, the White House is sending some senior officials over to Michigan to talk to stakeholders in the community, and we'll be continuing to visit and talking to folks throughout this cycle.
I want to, as we mentioned earlier, the president was able to flip Michigan in 2020. And I'm sure you already have these numbers memorized, but he won by just over 154,000 votes. That is a very slim margin. So are you worried that what we are seeing unfold because of the president's Israel policies will change 154,000 minds?
Well, look, this election is going to be close, and it's going to be close in Michigan. It's one of the biggest battlegrounds in the country. What we can do is continue to focus on investing and outreach to the communities that will decide this election. We're going to be talking about the full suite of issues that we know that Michiganders go to the ballot box for. Better jobs, a president that treats everybody with dignity, abortion rights. And when we look at the guy that we're likely going to face, who has turned his back on Michiganders, who has attacked elected officials in this state, has instituted a Muslim ban, and is proudly campaigning on it, we're really confident that this is a choice we're going to hammer in with these voters. But again, this work is for November 2024, and it's going to require us earning the support.
Well, we are about to see the first primary votes cast for Joe Biden in South Carolina, and there's a lot of history there. It's a state that gave him an incredible boost back in 2020. We just heard from our correspondent, Nicole Killian, who is there, who spoke with a group of Black pastors who said they weren't sure they were ready to support the president again. And this comes amid some waning support in the Black American community. And I wonder why you think that is and how you're going to address it.
Well, look, I think it was really important and a critical first step by Joe Biden to put South Carolina the first in the calendar. It is long overdue that our party represents and reflects the diversity and the backbone of our party, which is Black and brown voters. So by putting South Carolina at the top of the ticket, it reminds our communities that we aren't taking them for granted. And it's not just this calendar, it's putting in the time, the money, and the investments to show up and earn their support. So this is the first step in building a process that lives our values. We know that South Carolina is an important state. Its demographics reflect a lot of what we need to do in our key battlegrounds. And we're excited to see the results on South Carolina on Saturday, but that's just the first step in this process.
Well, there are a lot more states between now and November, and we hope to see you a lot between now and then. Kevin Munoz, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Rita.